What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mike with Blunts and Beats, and I'm here today to talk to y'all about Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Now, I know a lot of y'all motherfuckers hate on this card. Bad, like for a minute now. Every time a ban list is even thought of, this card's name is in the mix. But honestly, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It seems unstoppable because the Omni negate, the attack gain, it can't be destroyed by card effects. But this card is extremely addable, and I'm here to show y'all today exactly how to do that and explain why this card's hated so much, and also why I think this card should stick around. A lot of the decks that are running the meta right now are not even using this thing. It's mainly rogue strategies that is giving them a chance to step up to the meta game and actually do a little bit. So without further ado, let's get to it, y'all. Alright, let's start out with an overview of this card. It takes Dark Magician and one Red Eyes Black Dragon or one Dragon Effect monster. It can't be destroyed by card effects, can't be targeted by card effects. It has the effect that during the main phase, you could destroy one monster your opponent controls. If you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. It can be used a number of times up to the number of normal monsters used for its summon. And then it has the quick effect that once per turn you can discard one card, negate the activation of the effect, and if you do, destroy that card, and if you do that, this card gains 1,000 attack. So right off the bat, you got a 3,000 attack beater that can't be destroyed by card effects, can't be targeted. It has a really badass destruction and burn effect, and also has a negate effect that gains an attack, an Omni negate at that. So it seems really oppressive, but it's not as bad as y'all think. Now, one of the biggest complaints about this card is the ease that it can be splashed into any deck, and that's due to Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. The only part of this thing's effect that matters is that you can pay 2,000 life points, send one fusion or one polymerization normal or quick play spell from your deck to the graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect when that card is activated. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. Now, this is done by you pay a 2,000 life points and sending Red Eyes Fusion. You fusion summon one fusion monster that lists a Red Eyes monster as material from your deck or from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as fusion materials. If you do, its name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon. You cannot normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. Now, you get around that last part because you're doing it through Predaplant. It only activates the fusion part of it, not the rest of the card. And then we'll send off Red Eyes Black Dragon and Dark Magician, so you get 2 pops with them per turn. The only drawback to this strategy is that you're forced to run 3 bricks in your deck, plus 2 spots on your extra deck. So you have to pay for the ease to get him out there and for the strength of him. But even then, he's not that hard to beat, you guys. I'm about to show you exactly how this is done. Now, the easiest way to beat him is to get rid of him before he even hits the field. And one way to do that is with Ghost Reaper and the Winter Cherries. If your opponent controls a monster, more monsters than you do, quick effect, you could discard this card, reveal one card of your extra deck, then look at your opponent's extra deck. Also banish all cards in their extra deck with the same name as the revealed monster. So it's easy enough. You discard this thing, you reveal Dragoon in your deck, and then you banish theirs, and they never even get the chance to use it. But you still get to use yours if you want to. Easy out to this motherfucker, nothing to it. And next we have Effect Veiler. You could use this on the Anaconda to stop its effect from ever activating. Same thing with Infinite Empowerments, Ghost Mourner, and the Moonlit Chill. Any card that can negate Predaplant's effect stops Dragoon from getting the field. And then Predaplant's easy to run over with its 500 attack. Now, once he's on the field, he seems a little bit problematic, but he's still not bad. One easy way to out this thing, and just about any card of the game, is Dark Ruler No More. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this effect resolves, your opponent takes no damage. Neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. So, I mean, it's an easy out to him, or really anything you're having trouble dealing with. Just turn off the effect. Next, we have Super Poly. Now, he is one of the best Super Poly targets. This card, you can discard one card, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck. Use a monster from either field as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. It can't be negated, so Dragoon can't do shit about it. And then 90% of the time, you're going to have him and Anaconda on the field. It's easy to go straight into a Starved Venom fusion or one of the Predaplant fusion monsters. Or once Despia comes out, there are also Super Poly targets for this thing. So really easy to out him that way. Next, we have Clashing Souls. During the damage calculation, if your attack position monster battles an opponent's attack position monster with higher attack, the controller of the battling monster with lower attack can pay 500 life points for that monster to gain 500 attack during the damage calculation only. Then keep repeating this effect until the player chooses not to pay life points. Neither player can take any battle damage from that battle. Also, after damage calculation, if any player's monster would be destroyed by that battle, send all cards that player controls to the graveyard instead. Now, you kind of have to bait the negate for this one, and a lot of the other cards I have showed for you, but after you've done it, it's a game of chicken, and you're going to win, because they've already paid 2,000 life points to get Dragoon out on the field in the first place, so they're lower than you from the get-go. You summon anything with 1,500 attack, and y'all keep paying 500 life points, you're going to win. Next up, we have two of my favorite options, because they're basically side deck cards anyways, and that's Kaijus. Now, Gamma Seal is the most popular. Basically, Kaiju, you tribute your opponent's monster, summon it to their side of the field. I mean, it's out to any fucking thing. I chose to include the Wind Kaiju simply because a lot of people are playing the barrier statue with Simorg Tri-Brigade variants. This means you'll still be able to summon and get over that. Next up, we got one of my favorite monsters that's capable of pretty much out anything, and that is Eater of Millions. You banish 5 cards to summon this thing from either your hand, field, or extra deck, face down. It gains 100 attack for each face down banished card. If it battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster face down. Basically, you got to bait the negate to make that effect happen, but once it's done, he could out any fucking thing. Don't matter. I love this little motherfucker right here. Next up for the Dino strategy, we got Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Now, this is a pretty badass card to start with. It's got 3,500 attack, so it can run over them in general. But also, you can just destroy one monster in your hand or field. If you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and at the start of the damage step, this card attacks a defense position monster. You flip 1,000 damage to your opponent, and if you do, send that defense position monster to the graveyard. I mean, this is an out to Dragoon as well. If you've already baited the negate, you can put him face down, send his ass to the graveyard. Easy done. Now, one of my favorite cards for the Evoke strategy, we have Invoke the Legion. This motherfucker takes one Invoke monster, one monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. If, while this face up on the field, this card is also Dark, Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind attribute. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can target one Invoke monster you control or in your graveyard, banish it, and all monsters your opponent controls with the same attribute as that monster. So you can declare Dark, and you will banish him and every other monster on the field. This is a badass out to anything in the fucking game. I mean, don't get much better than that. I don't know why people don't run him, but it's one of my favorite cards in the whole strategy. Alright, next up I have for y'all Draco Berserker of Tenyi. It's a synchro monster, level 8, 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner. It has the quick effect that when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish it. It doesn't negate the activation, but all you gotta do is bait that negate while this thing's on the field and Dragoon's gone. Now moving on, I'll give you number F0 Utopic Draco Future, one of the newest cards from the King Court set, and one of my favorite cards from that set. It's a 3 Xyz monster with the same rank except number monsters. It's easy to summon though because all you have to do is use another Utopic Future card and overlay him. And he has a quick effect that once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can attach one material from this card, negate the activation, and if that monster is on the field, gain control of it. So this is an out to not only out Dragoon, but also steal your opponent's Dragoon if the negate's already been baited, or if they even try to negate something. Like, this is a really badass card, plus it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, so you can simply suicide it into him if you have to and keep your monster and destroy theirs. Next, I give you one of my favorite cards from the Phantom Knight strategy. That is Art Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This Xyz monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can attach one material from this card. This card gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field. Then if this card has a Dark Xyz monster as material, negate the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field. After this effect resolves, you cannot declare attacks of other monsters for the rest of the turn. So basically, this thing is a Dark Ruler no more that gets just big as fuck with attack. negates everything on the field, gains all their attacks. So if it's just him, Dragoon, and Verte, this thing's up to 6,500 attack and negates them all. You could attack fucking Dragoon or Predaplant, whichever one you feel like, and almost go for game with it. Really badass card. Now moving on, we have a Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. This card, if another Exceeds monster battled this turn, you can overlay him on top of one of them. And then he has a quick effect. You can attach 2 materials from this card, send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. So this is an out to any fucking thing, basically. Non-destructive, non-targeted removal. That's the key here, if y'all ain't noticing the trend. And now we have Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This is a link 5, takes 4+ effect monsters to summon, but you could use 1 monster your opponent controls as link summon for this card. So basically, you could use their Dragoon for fodder to get this thing out there. Any deck that could summon Boral Load or Boral Sword could get this thing out here. No problem. And it also has a quick effect that if your opponent would activate a card or effect that special summons a monster from the graveyard, you can negate it, and it can't be destroyed by card effects unless they target it. Now we have Crusadia Equimax. I put this one just because it has potential to get big as shit and run over him, no problem. And sticking to the Crusadias, we have Meknot Crusadia Avermax, one of my favorite cards of all time. While it's on the field, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target other monsters for attacks, except this one. Once per battle, during damage calculation, if this card battles a special summon monster, quick effect, you make this card gain attack equal to that monster's attack during that damage calculation only. And if this link summon monster you control is sent to the graveyard by the opponent's card, you can shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. So not only can this thing not be targeted, but it can gain Dragoon's attack, able to out it by battle. And then even if they do somehow get rid of this thing, you can still shuffle one of their cards back into the deck. So an amazing fucking card, especially for price. I think this thing is like $4 now. If you're not running it, I don't know why. He's fucking badass. And now another card that requires you to beta negate is Borreload Dragon. It's 1 effect, can't be answered, where your opponent's monster loses 500 attack. So you can do that, and you can attack him and overrun him that way. Or you can bait the negate and steal it with Borreload's effect. And last but not least, we have Access Code Talker. The reason we included this one, he cannot be responded to by anything. So his first effect, to target a link monster that was used for his summon, it gained attack equal to a monster's link rating times 1,000, makes this thing easy to fucking out Dragoon. Because if you use a link 3, he's got 5,300, and you can just run the motherfucker over. Alright, y'all, in addition to everything I've shown you today, there's still quite a number of ways to fuck this motherfucker up. And I'm really interested to hear y'all's opinions on this card, and different ways you could think of to fuck it up, or whether you think it should be banned or not. In my honest opinion, I don't feel that Dragoon, Verte Anaconda, or Red Eyes Fusion should be touched. Yes, the card's strong, but it's outable, and it's really not doing a lot in the meta. Most of the decks that are running are rogue decks that honestly need the boost to be able to compete. So, if you like what you see here today, hit that like and subscribe button for more of this motherfucking Yu-Gi-Oh content. And as always, I hope y'all motherfuckers have a good day. Later.